we have come to the third session. Today we are going to talk about filters and paste options. Those of you who do not know me, my name is Hassan. I'm the Learning and Development Manager for the group of Inenco. And Excel is something that is very, very close to me. I've been a banker for about 10 years in my previous life. So been dealing with a lot of data when it comes down to Excel, the customer database, and all the others. So what we are going to do today is we have done the sound check. Everybody is able to hear me. If not, then please drop me a chat message. If you are not able to hear me, this is the chat message. I will wait for you, give you 5 seconds if you are not able to hear me. Otherwise, we'll go forward. This is to make sure I don't keep on rambling and nobody is able to hear or see my screen. Awesome. So I don't see any chat, so we can go forward. Right. So just for a little bit of, for those who've just joined for the first time in Club Excel, it's a bite-sized training. It's meant for beginners and intermediate. We'll do 1 session per month. It's a pragmatic tailored learning which means that you get one thing to learn out of Excel. Excel has hundreds and millions of kind of things that you can do. But the problem is when you do too much learning, you don't retain it. So the idea is to get 1 or 2 things and retain them and practice them for a month and go forward. This session, as you see, is being recorded, and you can later see it on YouTube. I'll be sharing a link of that. So we always start off with the problems and issues, and then we go forward addressing them through our 1 or 2 functions of the day. Today we are going to talk about the 5 things is organizing data, making changes to your data, and extracting information from your data. Now, all these 3 things can be done through something amazing called the filters in Excel. And today we are going to learn about the filters. Now, I'm pretty sure most of you already know what those filters are. I'm just going to mute all again because somebody has just joined in. Sorry. Okay, so most of you know what filters are, but there might be 1 or 2 things that you may not know, and it's good to learn a few tricks around filters. And I've recently found one thing that I really liked. So let's talk about that. And then we have some paste options, specifically paste special options. Now, all of these things really help us save time and effort, and a lot of combination of the two. And then finally we'll have the shortcut for the month. Right, so if everybody can please open up the example3 file that I've sent you on email an hour earlier. If you could please open that up, and if somebody does not have that, if you could please drop your email on the chat, and I will send it across to you right now. I believe some of the people are sitting in groups, especially in Indonesia, and I believe somebody Trisha is sitting with a group. So if you can please bring in your laptops individually, because it always makes sense to do it yourself, or if you are able to, otherwise it's all right. You can practice it later. And I understand that some of us are working from home and they might be working on a single screen. So today I'm going to go really slow, and please bear with me, because what happens is if your example file is opened in the same screen, then you have to toggle between what you're seeing on BlueJeans and what you might miss out, and you're doing your own thing as well. So if you could please open up the example file, I will open it up as well. So I have not opened my example file. Could have kept it open. Here you go. This is my example file. Now at the bottom you will see 5 worksheets. We will do bit by bit in each one of them. We'll toggle between the 2. Now let's start off with filters, what they are and how do we use them. Filters are basically very easy. They are they help us organize the data, and they help us mine data within the database. So let's see. This is let's take an example. This is a simple small data. If I want to put up a filter, first thing I want to make sure is the headings are all sorted. If a heading is missing, then the filters will not work properly. Okay. Now, if my just any heading, no replication. So if let's say there is another one, another column that I want to introduce, I need to put a heading there. Okay, so just make sure, please, the headings are there. Once you have the headings, you just need to select the headings, just like this, and you go into this part on your home ribbon, click here, sort and filters, and apply the filter. Here you go. So you have these drop downs. I will zoom in. Now you have these drop down buttons that you can use to, if you click on the drop down, it gives you a lot of information. Now we're going to go through each one of those informations slowly. Now, let's say, what is the use of the filter? Okay, these, as you can see, are the months. Now this in Excel would be text, simple text, and these are numbers. So in Excel, there will be numbers in the backend. So what we are doing is, if you click on month, you can sort it A to Z, Z to A alphabetically. So that's one good thing. I'm sure most of you know about it. So if you click on A to Z, you've seen here now A, August, February, July, June. Now the best part is, let's say we are talking about this particular entry. I'll just make it red, so you know the difference. Now the best part is, if I sort it back, now I'm sorting this row column, but the subsequent elements in front of it, they stay with it. So as you sort this out, this keeps going up and down with it, so they don't change. The entries remain the same. Now you see a small arrow, and there is no arrow here, which means that the filter is applied here, and there is no filter applied here. Again, I will go back into this one. Now, let's talk about a little bit more than that. If, let's say, I have made one entry into red, let me make another one into red, just to give you an idea. Okay, one into red. So I have 3 entries in red. If I go into filter by color, it automatically detects that there is a red color in my file. So if I click on the red color, it only gives me the red headings, the red highlights, right? So if I was to bring it back, all I need to do is clear all. So now I have all the image, all the stuff, all the entries. Now if I was to use another, let's use highlight. If I was to use the blue color in highlight, another one in blue color and highlight. So you know how your entries sometimes have limit. So you do your own color coding. For example, some data is missing, or some you need to double check, so you do your own color coding. So if you've done that, you can also filter by colors. You see here it's giving you 2 colors, cell color and font color. So you can select this one, and regardless however many colors you have, once you place those colors in, you will be able to see once you go into here, once you go into sort by color. All right, so this is one thing that is really cool about it. The other thing that I want to touch on is, because I said there's a difference between text and numbers in Excel. So here, if you click on it, you will see another option which says text filters. If you click, however, on this one, it will not say text filters, it will say number filters. It automatically picks up and shows you these filters. Let's go in one by one. Month filter, let's go into this one and do text filters. Now this is equals, does not equals, begins with, ends with, contains, does not contain, and custom filter. Now these are self-explanatory. Let me do just one. If let's say I want to do this one, begins with, and I want to say bearings, but I don't know the spelling of bearings. So I say BEA, begins with. It will bring me to all the bearings. All right. So you need not know the entire comment, the entire part of the cell, but then you can clear filters out. Okay. So this is one thing in the numbers, and then you can play around with text filters, begins with, ends with. So if let's say we will go on to the next data. So everybody please move on to the next file. This is, I specifically put this in this form so that I'll show you how I use whenever I get a raw data from a data dump, how do I clean it and how do I apply filters. So let's say this is actually your registrations for Excel, Club Excel 3. So this is the data dump that I got. The first thing that I do is you see these grids. Now, psychologically, this is going to confuse you, and you don't want your brain to be confused when you're dealing with data. So the first thing you do is you go into you go into view, and you click on grid lines. So now the grid lines are gone. There's less confusion. Okay. Second, you select all your columns and you double click on this edge. So now it has adjusted the column width to each entry. Okay, I'll repeat. I went into, I will undo it. I went into view. There was these grids. I removed the grids. Then I selected the columns. You see how I selected it. I selected it from the top. I selected it like this. And I just come in on the edge and double click it, and it just adjusts everything nice and clean. And this is my data. Now, these are my headings. So what I'll do is I'll click on the headings, and for me, it's bold and it's yellow. Always for me. It could be something else for you, but for me, I like it this way. The next thing that I'll do is probably I will select all the data and I will put borders. Now you would say, what's the difference between removing the grids and the borders? Now the grids are for the entire screen. The borders help me within the data. It's just a thing that I like to do. It helps me out. So now if I was to put in filters, I would select the heading, go into this option and apply filters. So now you see drop down buttons in front of everything. And this is so amazing that now I can actually check how many from Australia. I will click select all, unclick it and say Australia, and I'll get the results. So these are all Australia options. You see the funnel? It's nowhere else. This funnel states that this is the filter applied only on this column. If I want to clear all, I will use this clear filter from country and everything is back. If I want to go into Indonesia, I will uncheck all, Indonesia. Okay, there you go. I have all the data. Now let's go back into filtering of the stuff. So let's say here you have different email addresses, right? You can see inenco.com.au, you can see Conbear. Now I want to, my question here is, I want to identify all the email addresses ending with inenco.com.au. So what will I do? Text filter ends with, I will say inenco.com.au. Okay, and there you have it. I have all the email addresses, all the database of all the email addresses ending with inenco.com.au. Now, I have another query. I want Inenco as well as Conbear. Okay, so how do I do it? First, I clear the data, make sure there is no funnel. It's all clear. To make sure there's no funnel, you can also go here and you can use the clear option. For example, let me just put, let me just select this. I have applied a filter. You see the funnel? Now, if I need to make sure there is no filter, I go here and I say clear, and everything is cleared. All the filters are gone. I can now rework on it. So let's say if I want to find out, it ends with, and I say inenco.com.au, but I also ends with conbear.com, right? Just conbear.com, right? So now I should get all the data ending with these two. Oh, okay. I should have used or, because and means it's both, or is this. So now I have data which is inenco and conbear, inenco and conbear, and nothing else. Okay, so I use an or configuration. So it's very simple. I'll do it again for you guys. Clear? Everything's clear now. We go here, text filter ends with, this box opens up. You have two options, and I'm going to say inenco.com.au and then or. It ends with, you can drag down, ends with conbear.com. There you go. So all the options here are now with me. Okay, cool. So make sure you clear out the data before you go in the data with another question or query. It's always important to do that. So this is how I work on the raw data. Let's go back and, okay, now something interesting here is, let me just fix this and then I'll explain it to you. Let's talk about numbers. Okay, I've gone back into the first one. I will clear the filter. Now let's talk about numbers. Okay, so when you click on drop down with numbers underneath, you can actually have a lot of options. Now let's say I want to use the top 10. This is my favorite one, especially if you're comparing. So top 10, if I say top 10 items, okay, you see this? It's just given me 10 items which have the top 10 sales. Okay, it automatically calculates it. I can clear the filter. I get all of them back. Let me just remove the colors because they're distracting me. I'm very easily distracted. No fill and automatic. Okay, so there's no color now. Awesome. So now let's try another one. I want to say greater than, and I feel like 15,000. Greater than 15,000. Sales greater than 15,000. I click. See that? It's filtered out everything which is greater than 50,000 here. The next one I want to do is above average. Okay, above average. So let's say I want to find out which were the months and the products that were above average. All right. So I clear the filter. Go here, number filters, and let me say below average. So below average, these are all the ones that are below the average of the entire sales column in this data. Okay, so I'm gonna okay, I have some stuff. Okay, if you have any questions, you can start typing now. I'll give you some time on the chat area, please. If you're following all okay, just give me an all okay, so I know I'm going at the right speed. I will wait for you. Thank you. There's a chat area on Blue Jeans. Yep. All right. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Hanan. Thank you, Kerry. Great. Perfect. Thank you very much. We will go back. Now, there are a few things other than, remember I told you I have learned something so before you go into a filter, please remember you complete the headings, then you apply the filter, you make it clean, and then you start cleaning the data. What I mean by cleaning the data is, and this gets to me a lot. So for example, if you're entering the data, right? So let me clear out here. So let's say some of us have a habit of not following um, the right format. Okay, so if you do, um, if you're entering different entries like this, okay, just put it for. If you're entering entries like this, um, and if you make an error also, if you make a spelling error, that it is not good because it gives you so many different options when you're filtering, because Excel understands uniformity, right? So it's always good to have the same spelling every time. And that is how we get the best results in Excel. So please make sure that you clean the data. So for sometimes, for example, if you have, you know, if the spelling if of one person is wrong and that person comes in twice in the Excel. So for example, I'm getting AIP here. See that? Now, if I was to get, let me select AIP. I have two entries, and if I was to give spaces in AIP here for Vanessa, and I go back, you see that? Now it's giving me two AIPs, AIP this and AIP this one. So it's considering as a separate entry. So the best thing to do is select these two and make it constant. Okay, so please make sure your data is constant, otherwise you will have issues. All right, so we did A to Z, we've done Z to A, we've done sorted by color, we've done the text and the number filters. Within that, you can try playing around. These are easy things to play around with. Equals, does not equal, begins with, ends with, contains, does not contain, and filter customs. Let me just try one more thing, and it sounds interesting, so let me just try it out. So I will clear the filter first. Major filter cleared. So let's say if I want to see this one. So text filter contains. Let me try contains, right? Contains Edwin. Now I know Edwin is in there somewhere, but I want to search him and I'm unable to search him. So I say contains Edwin. Here you go. If I press enter, I have Edwin all sorted, easy to do, very, very fast, and no issues whatsoever. Awesome. Great. So we've covered these things. Now let's look at something else, okay? Something interesting that I want to share with you. And these are the four things that I found some very, very interesting that you can actually do. Now, let's suppose you're in the middle of the data and you're sitting here and your question is, okay, I am from Seiko Wilson. How many people in this data are from Seiko Wilson? And I don't want to go here and apply the filter because it's too long, okay? It's too long a process. There's too much stuff here. I don't want to search it, right? I'm here. I just want to know how many Seiko Wilson, okay? So here you go. So you click on Seiko Wilson, you right click on it, you go down, you see this filter, and you say filter by sales value. And voila, you have everybody who is from Seiko Wilson right here, and the filter is applied. Isn't that awesome? Saving you time and seconds. It's all about saving seconds. All right, now let me try CBC Indonesia. Right click on CBC Indonesia, filter, cell value, click, and done. Easy peasy. Okay, now let me just color some things in red. Make them red just randomly. There's a reason for that. Okay, and then I'll just make these red. Now, I am in this column and I want to know, suppose these are the people who have to pay me a certain amount of money. So I need to collect money out of these people, all right? So if I'm on this column and I know reds are the ones who have to pay me, I can click on it, go again into filter, and see here, font color, selected cells font color. I click on this and I have all the ones in this column because the filter was applied here in red. So now I can print out a list of all the people who owe me money, and easy peasy I can go in and save my time instead of going into each one of them. All right, now let me just apply one more thing. Let me say these people. Now the highlighted ones in yellow are the ones who are the best students, okay? The best people in this on this webinar. And I've just done a random thing, all right? So what I'll do is if I want to go here, so right click on the any of the yellow options, right click, filter, cell color, not the font color, cell color. Click, I have all the yellows and all of these I can just print out easily. Okay. Let me just clear. So please make sure that you make it a habit of clearing it every time, because each query you don't want to just make a, you know, let's say I was working on a query and I had removed New Zealand, and then I was looking for Seiko Wilson here. You will never find it because that's another query. All right. So please make sure you make it a habit that you keep clearing after every query. It just helps. Okay. All right. So that's the filters. Don't want to touch on cells icon right now. We'll probably touch it later, but you can put in icons. Some of you advanced learners, you know, you can put icons on Excel and you can also search it through that. So I'm going to go back to Blue Jeans and ask you to please let me know if everything is okay. Just put in okay quickly and we will go forward into paste options. Thank you, Ian. Thank you. Awesome. Great. Sounds good. All right, let's go back. Now we go into paste options. Now, most of you, some of you may have thought that why do we have to learn about paste? You know, paste is just Control C, Control V, and you just paste, right? Now, yes, but there are a few more applications to the paste option, and I will go into each one of them separately. So if you can all please go into values, the sheet called values, color blue. Okay, now sometimes in our data we apply formulas and functions, but then we rework on those formulas and functions on for something else. Okay, or we just want those end results and not the foundation cells that we picked up the data from. So here let me just give you an example. Okay, so let's take this. We have two examples. I'll take one of them first. So here it says month, product, sales. There's a GST, then a net sales, so which means sales minus GST, and then there's profit. So it says only show net sales, which is sales minus GST. It says do not show this, do not show this, only show this. How do we do that? Simple option. First off, we will apply a formula equals this multiply by 10%. Okay, so we have the 10% GST. We will double click on the bottom edge and it will fill up the entire thing. Again, I will put a formula in net sales is equal to sales minus GST. Enter. Don't worry, just have a look at it and we'll practice it together later. So I got the net of sales. So net sales is 34 minus 3,400, which is 31. Always good to do sanity check. And then see this plus sign, the black plus, and I double click it and it's automatically done. So now I have net sales. Okay, so I've calculated net sales. It's a function formula. But if you click here, you see this, it's a formula. So if I was to remove sales and GST, for example, if I was to delete them, you see this will go back into a reference check. There's a reference problem because it was picking up the data from the two original um, columns. So what I will do is, because I know there is a formula in each one of these cells, I will select these cells, the ones I want. I will copy them, and then I will, you see this, I will not paste. I will go into paste special. And when I click on paste special, it gives me this box. This box. Okay, it has a lot of options. We'll be using values. So what does value means? You see this? Value means it takes away all the formulas. So the formula is now gone. It's a normal number. It's not linked to anything. So if I was to delete this now, the net sales still stay there. Okay, so that's how we use value, and this is one of the areas we use value. Now, just for me to repeat, for all of you to practice with me, again, I apologize for those who are intermediate and advanced learners. We just want to make sure everybody's together. So I will remove this now. Let's take it one by one slowly. So the option here is I just want to see net sales, and I do not want to see sales and GST. GST is 10% of sales. Net sales is sales minus GST. So we'll go into GST, apply the formula is equal to D7, which is sales, TERIC, which is multiply, and we say 10, but we also put percentage, enter. So here we have it. We move it into a plus. We double click it. It automatically fills up everything. Please remember just a point. If one field is missing, when you double click it, here it will populate. Sometimes it does not. So you'll have to look. Let me just remove this also. Okay. So if I was to double click, it does go forward, but sometimes you'll have to fill it up to get that. Anyway, I'm drifting. Let's just go forward. So here we have put in the 10% GST, and in net profit, what we will do is equals to sales minus GST, enter, you get the net sales, you drag it, it comes, fulfills it. Now, you need to select all of them, but the trick here is not to cut. In cut, paste special does not work. It's only in copy that it works. So copy it, and you can click here again, paste special, values, and OK. Now all the formulas are gone. There's no linkage between any of those cells, and I can just remove these cells, and I've got only show net sales. I have net sales. So that's one. Now here, let's take second example. So I'll just move on my right. Here it says only show full name. Okay, so here's the first name, here's the surname, and here's the full name. So remember those of you who did not attend the last session, we used a function called concatenate. It just joins the two. If you want to learn more about it, let me know. I'll send you a link of the last recording, and you can learn more about this function. Those of you who attended, think of it as a reminder. So I'll join this and this, but there is no space. So for that space, I will add inverted comma, space, inverted comma, comma, enter. So now I have Aaron's full name, Aaron Althoff, and I can just drag it. But you see, all of these names are connected to the first and the second name. Okay, but here I just want full names. So if I delete these two, if I delete them, there's a reference check because it's connected. So what do? I select the names, the new names, I copy it, I right click again, paste special, values. Okay, now they are disconnected from these two. So if I was to delete them, easy, done. I have full names now. Okay, right. Just gonna check with another round of OKs, please. Or if somebody wants me to do it again, happy to do it. Great. Beautiful. All right, let's go ahead. So this is values. You use them in a lot of data. Once you've put in a formula, you can then copy and paste them as a value and delete the foundation of cells that you were picking up the data from. So it's disconnected. Let's go into our next one, please. Column width. Now you see these, when these hashtags appear in your Excel, it only means that there is not enough space in that cell, so it's not, there's more stuff in it. So if I was to increase the October one, now you can see the numbers, yeah? So Excel gives you one more option in paste, and this is a beautiful option. So let me just adjust October width. So let's say I like this width, okay? So what I do is I select any one of the cells, or I select a few of the cells. Let me select all of them. And I say copy. And then I go into November, but I right click on my first cell, paste special. And you see here, it says column width. I click on the column width. Okay, there you go. So it did not paste the data. It did not affect my database here. What it did was it just pasted the column width from K to L. So if I was to do this again on all of these columns, paste special, column width, okay, and January, done. Similarly, if I was to select, let me try if this works. Great, easy. So now I can see there are other options to do it as well, but you know, if you're working in a lot of data, then this will work with you. And as you can see, my OCD behavior kicks in immediately, and I start cleaning up the data. Look, I've worked on a database of 8 million customers with about 150 fields, 150 columns, 8 million customers. Okay, that's a lot of data. I mean, just to save that Excel file would take me some time. Okay, so I'm telling you, the more cleaner it is, the best, the more likely you will make fewer mistakes. Okay, so this is clean now. It's all good. You can see all the numbers. There's lots of options to do it, but column width is really, really simple. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but let's move forward. All right. There are lots of options in paste special. We are only going to do these three, but I can do another one on operations, but honestly, you're never going to use it. So like I said earlier, Club Excel is a very pragmatic form of learning. So we're only going to use the stuff that I think you will use. I've seen most of the people working in the branches, the reps, the operations, the backend. So most of you, I understand that these are the ones that you're going to use, especially the next one, Transpose. Okay, so let's see what Transpose is. If you could please go back to your sheet into the Transpose file. And there's somebody without the microphone on mute. So what I'll do is I'll just mute everybody again. All right. So everybody with me, you are now on the Transpose file. Okay. Now here you have some data which is going horizontally, which means this way. So it's going on and on and on, but you feel that, hey, if this data was in this form, it would have been much better. Okay. Now, it doesn't matter what your data is like. Your data is here. So what you do is you copy it, copy your entire data. You copy, you click on anywhere, paste special. See the transpose? That's the beautiful part. Click here. Okay. There you go. Without any changes. So let's say June bearings 35,832. June sorry, that was June bearings, yeah? So we go into June bearings 35832. So the numbers are matching. Okay, perfect. So now you can convert your horizontals into verticals, and you can convert your verticals into horizontals. Copy, paste special, transpose. It will go back into horizontal. Okay, so this really works. I'll just, for example's sake, I'll just go back into the large file, the filter data, and I will select the entire thing because this looks like a bigger piece of data. Copy it, and let me just open up a new sheet, fresh sheet, remove the grid lines, and I say paste special transpose OK. See, all of this data, which was vertical, is now horizontal. Okay. So again, it totally depends on how you want your data to look like and what you're working on. Sometimes you get data from different platforms, and some of the stuff you need to collate. So it's always easier to understand and know this. Now, if I was to, by the way, you can do two things at the same time, right? So you can do values. So let's say I add expenses. I'm back into the value sheet, and I've just added a new column. So net sales minus profit is expenses, and I have dragged it. So now I have another column, and it's linked. So these are not values; these are linked to these two columns. Just have a look at it. And now I want to convert this vertical table into a horizontal one. How do I do this? Let me just hide this for now. So I want to convert this one, which is vertical, into a horizontal one. And I also want to remove any linkages from profit and sales to expenses. So let's do both of the things together. Copy it, paste special, I do values, and I can do transpose together. So now if my expenses are not linked and are individual, so even if I was to remove this, there will be no problems in knowing my expenses. But here, because they are linked, if I was to remove net sales, it will give me just the expenses, the profit. Awesome. So let's go back. So we have done the paste, paste a special 3 options. If you could give me another round of OKs, please. We've done paste special, and awesome. Thank you very much. Great. So time for shortcut of the month. Now, because we were dealing with filters, and because you constantly had to go and, let me just go here. You had to go into filter, and then you had to go into, when you did the funnel, then you had to go into clear filter. So, I don't want you to waste your time. So the best thing to do, and the shortcut of the month, is how to create and remove filters without moving to your mouse and without going to your home ribbon. All right, so Control Shift L together. Let's try it out. I can click anywhere on this table and say Control Shift L. See, my filters are gone. Okay, if I do it again, Control Shift L, my filters are back. Now, how does this save you time? If you were to click in, if you were in the data and now you had to go again here and clear it, instead of doing that, all you can do is Control Shift L 2 times. The first time it removes it, so your data is clear, and then you put it back, so your filters are back, but your data is clear. So Control Shift L, it takes it away and brings it back, and that is our shortcut of the month. All right, perfect. So in closing, we have done filtering. We did A to Z, Z to A, color, sort by color, sort by number and filters, cell value, cell color, cell font, cell icon. We didn't touch so much, but maybe next time in the more intermediate part. In the page special one, we touched on values, very, very important one, especially if you're dealing with formulas and functions. We did column width, not too important, but it's still good to know. And then one of the most important ones, in especially if you're dealing with two sources of data, which gives you maybe different things, transpose. And then the shortcut of the month for this time around was Control Shift and L. Now, I understand we may not be taking questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to write to me. And what we are going to do is, I'm going to go back to it. So you can write to me on my email address, and I'll try putting in your responding your question. I've just put in a feedback poll on the chat area. If you could just click on it, please. And there's one question. If you could just answer that question, it'll really help us make things understand that we are going on the right track, and that'll take just 1 minute. So right, so once you've done that, thank you very much. I will be ending this recording now, and that